What's going on, guys? It's Salvajee from Salvajee Cartel. Welcome back to another video, and we're going to be reviewing the Outbreak Prime. This is my PvE review on the Outbreak Prime. My PvP review on the Outbreak Prime will be out very soon. I want to use it in PvP for a little bit more, and I also want to use it in Trials of Osiris as well. So be on the lookout for that. Anyways, with that said, let's talk about the Outbreak Prime. Okay, so I have to say this about the weapon. I love how the weapon looks. The weapon looks amazing. It looks super badass. It looks super cool. And on top of all that, most importantly, of course, I love how this weapon sounds. Of course, the raid primaries, you know, the what's this thing called, the auto rifle and the scouts, you know, when you get the special perk activated or whatever, they make a little beep sound. Well, yeah, this weapon also does that sound, and on top of all that, when you shoot the weapon, it actually sounds pretty cool. If you guys haven't heard how this weapon sounds, obviously you guys are not really going to be able to hear it in the gameplay that well. Let me play a clip for you guys right now of this weapon's sound. As you guys can see, the weapon sounds super amazing, but with that said, let's stop talking about sound and how the weapon looks, and let's talk about how the weapon performs in the PvE environment. Alright, so let's talk about the exotic perk, the corruption spreads, and of course virulence. So the corruption spreads pretty much says enemies that take repeated hits from this weapon spawn sea bananites that attack their enemies, and of course the fallen take extra damage. And then of course we have virulence. Precision kills release sea bananite swarm that attacks other enemies. So let's talk about the sea bananites, because I'm pretty sure that's what all of you guys are curious about. Quite honestly, they're not super crazy, super amazing, super powerful. As you guys can see in this clip right here, I actually get it to activate 2 times the sea bananites. And I do have to say one thing from my experience, you know, playing with this weapon in PvE, like I said, for an entire day, the sea bananites are very good actually when it comes down to you know, groups. Okay, when the enemy is grouped up together, and when there are a couple of tough enemies grouped up together, then that extra damage is going to help you out. Okay, when it comes down to virulence, like I said, every time you get a precision kill, of course the sea bananites appear. So that's pretty much like a way that you can guarantee that the sea bananas are going to appear. And then of course we have the corruption spreads. Now when you're facing tougher enemies, I've gotten the sea bananas to activate up to 3 times by just shooting the tough enemies. But honestly, when you're just, you know, facing, I guess you could say, you know, trash mobs, it doesn't really activate that much. And if it does activate, it's going to be very rare. The main thing that I'm trying to tell you guys is that the main perk for this weapon, the corruption spreads, it's mainly going to be very effective against tough enemies, okay? But with that said, the sea bananite swarm, it's actually a pretty cool concept, and I really do like it. But honestly, at the end of the day, from my perspective, when it comes down to it, it's not really super awesome. It's not really super effective, at least when it comes down to PvE. Because remember, this is a PvE review. I'm not talking about PvP thingies. In PvP, you know, when it comes down to how good the sea bananites are in PvP and stuff, I'll let you guys know in the PvP review. But yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes down to the corruption spreads and virulence. I'm very glad that this weapon has Outlaw. As you guys know, Outlaw increases the reload speed every time you get a precision kill. The weapon has very good reload, so of course Outlaw helps it out a lot, and you know, the reload goes by very quickly. The weapon has, of course, very good stability, very good range as well. But let me just get to the main point of this review. At the end of the day, guys, when it just comes down to it, when it comes down to the PvE environment, this weapon just kills things, right? Like, that's pretty much it. It just kills things. You know, it has a very good fast time to kill, you know, mainly when it comes down to most mobs, you know, most enemies, but it just kills things, right? And you know what also kills things? Like the regular raid auto rifle, you know, the raid scout rifle, or pretty much just any other legendary weapon. So honestly, I think that the Outbreak Prime, it's pretty much not worth the grind. Okay, if you want this weapon for PvE, like I said, this is a PvE review. If you want this weapon for PvE, you shouldn't really grind for this weapon. You shouldn't really get this weapon because you're not really going to have a super crazy advantage, you know, like the Touch of Malice, which was actually very, very good on King's Fall. Everybody liked that weapon. On top of all that, the Outbreak Prime really isn't like, for example, a bad Juju, right? Which every time that you get a kill, it's going to help you get your super faster. The Outbreak Prime isn't a Monte Carlo that every time you cause damage, you know, your melee charges faster, or the Suros Regime that sometimes it has a chance of healing you. The Outbreak Prime, honestly, when it comes down to it, it just kills things, right? And this is pretty much why the weapon in PvE, it's not really like the best thing. Honestly, I recommend that you guys go with another exotic, for example, Bad Juju, because it's going to be, you know, benefiting you, and it's also going to kill things like the Outbreak Prime. It might not have, you know, the Sea Nanites, but again, the Sea Nanites aren't super effective when it comes down to a single enemy. They're mainly effective when it comes down to you know, a group of enemies, and when enemies are grouped up together, and also if you have weak enemies in there as well as strong enemies, of course, so you can activate the other perk. Anyways, my main point is, guys, just run another exotic, okay? The Outbreak Prime, in my opinion, it's pretty much just going to be a weapon that you're just going to use it to show off, or you're just going to use it to just because you want to use it, just because you want to have fun with it. But honestly, I'd rather go with Galahorn or Sleeper Simulant, or, you know, something like I don't know, Hereafter, or something like Suros Regime, because at the end of the day, again, this weapon just kills things. And that's pretty much it when it comes down to it, guys. These are my thoughts on the Outbreak Prime on PvE. Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comment sections below. Do you agree with me? Also, let me know in the comment sections below. Again, let me tell you guys, when it comes down to PvE, is this weapon worth it? Should you do all the monitors? Should you grind for this weapon? The answer is going to be no, because at the end of the day, this just kills things. If you have a Hawksaw, it's pretty much a replacement for this weapon, except without the Sea Nanites. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, drop a like, subscribe to join the Salvajee cartel. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.